Well, I just can't envision anything, any architecture beyond the cloud. You know, in many ways, it's back to the future. If you look at sort of the history of computing, it was mainframe computing where people shared this very expensive resource, and then it moved to client server where some of that power moved to the desktop. This is really the combination of both of those paradigms. And in the fact that we're sharing resources, and actually in sharing those resources, we have more power, we have more access to data, more aggregation of data. And then on the client side, the client just isn't a PC anymore. It can be any handheld device. The handheld device that's appropriate for that business application. It can be a phone for personal interaction. It could be an iPad for business interactions in a warehouse, or it could be a full-blown PC when you need a full-blown PC. So it's the ultimate paradigm mix of the mainframe environment, the client-server environment, now in the cloud computing environment. And secondly, it leverages sort of the trends that are going on in the business world. The thing called the internet did in fact change every industry and every personal life. So the fact that you see applications like NetSuite that have the internet at their heart, I think are fundamentally transforming what companies can do with their business applications. Well, I've been in the cloud computing business probably longer than anybody. My job before NetSuite, I was at McAfee back in 1999 and 2000, and my charter was to take our existing client-server applications and move them to the internet. And in fact, we had actually the first cloud IPO in the year 2000 with McAfee.com. And what I discovered in that process was actually the ultimate argument for customers moving their processes to the cloud are the fact that if the software developer who writes the application actually has to run the application themselves, they're going to write a lot better software. In the old model of computing, I would ship you a disk and dare you to install it. It was your problem to make it work. And most studies showed that managing it took 4 to 5 times the cost of the original license. So in effect, all these companies that are running Microsoft and running SAP are not making their business better, they're making Microsoft and SAP's business better. They're spending all this resource making this software work. In my model, customers just run their business and I run the software. So from a cost standpoint, it's a much better model. From an efficiency standpoint, again, the internet changes every business. And now, even small and mid-sized businesses can use the internet to tap resources wherever they may be in the world. The old model of client-server computing, it was almost impossible for people outside the firewall to get ready access to that application. So in both cases, it's a giant cost reduction for companies, so they're excited about that. And secondly, it's a big boon to productivity in that normal humans can now access corporate data to get their job done more efficiently. Well, in many ways, it's not a risk to put mission-critical applications on the cloud. It's a benefit to your business. Again, there's this notion that wherever your resources are in the world, they can transact business. So if you look at the industries that first adopted NetSuite, there are companies with naturally distributed business models. So wholesale distribution. You've got manufacturing in China, you've got warehouses all over the world, and you want your salespeople out in the field. That's where an application like NetSuite is actually a positive for the business. You look at the other segment of the market, services companies. You don't want your service people sitting inside the office. You want them outside the office interacting with clients, billing time, those kinds of things. So the fact that they can access NetSuite anytime, anywhere is a positive for the business. So the interesting thing is, most of our competitors say, in fact, you can't run mission-critical applications in the cloud. I believe, from our experience, it's easier to run mission-critical applications in the cloud than it ever was with a client-server application where it was tightly bound inside the walls of your firewall. Well, I don't think, when software is so widely dispersed, it never becomes irrelevant. In fact, today we're still running mainframe applications, and we know we've shifted from the mainframe paradigm 20 years ago. So a lot of the software will continue to exist for forever in these companies. That said, I think the way to look at the paradigm shift is to look at where customers are voting with their dollars for new applications. And if you look at data from Gartner and others, NetSuite grew at 70% over the last 2 years in the whole financial applications market category. Traditional vendors shrank during that period. So that's really the way to look at how the transformation is happening, is where are customers betting their new dollars? What kind of applications are they betting their new dollars on? And in almost every category, whether it's financials or HR or SFA, Salesforce automation, they're betting on the cloud, they're not betting on premise.